Well, hello everyone. This is Wesley Campbell, and we are here in Santa Maria Valley Healing Rooms with a new best friend. Kamran Yaraei.
Yes.
And he is the husband of the wild singer, Susie Yaraei.
Susie, yes.
And, I met Kamran a few years back, but we didn't have a chance to talk much, but you told me a couple stories that intrigued me, and I never forgot about you. And when you came this week, I said, I have to get your story. I have to get your conversion. And so here we are. So Kamran, we're going to just jump right into it. And why don't you start by introducing yourself? Who are you? Where do you come from? Age, etc.?
Oh, you want to know my age?
Yeah.
Wow. I always say, I like to get older. And people say, are you crazy? Why do you want to get older? I said, I want to get older faster because I could go see my Jesus. Yeah. I mean, I love hanging out with him here, but I'm not afraid of age. I'm 53 years old.
Wow.
In Old Testament time, they were 350 years and they would go to their dad. Hey, Dad, we want to get married. They would say, no, you're just a teenager. You're just only 350. I'm only 53 years old. I'm from Iran. I was born in Iran. I always say I'm from Iran. I'm a citizen of United States, but my country is, people will say, oh, is he going to pick Iran or US? I said, my country is Jesus.
Wow.
Jesus is my country. And yes, but I was born in Iran. I was born in a Muslim family practicing, but not a terrorist. No. Just a Muslim family. My mother,
You have to qualify.
Yes. Didn't want to kill anybody. And that's how I grew up. And when I was 12 years old, then revolution happened.
Okay, so as a child, what's your earliest recollection of as a little boy? What do you remember?
Little boy, just going to my grandmother's house and just have so much fun in my grandmother's house, and uncles, and they had cows and they had chickens, and my grandfather was really like Indiana Jones, and he was just so adventurous and having so much fun. And then slowly growing up, my mother, I remember recollection of my mother talking to me about Allah and talking about Islam and trying to turn me into a good Muslim, peaceful Muslim boy.
At what age would you say that would be?
12. I remember, yeah.
So how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I was the oldest. I have one brother, 5 years younger, one sister, 10 years younger.
Wow. And so it was, but the relatives, there was a clan.
Oh, yes, huge. You just get together with all the cousins and aunts and uncles and, just minimum of 50 people.
Wow.
This is minimum of 50. When you get together, and it goes, way bigger.
Now, then how old were you when the war came to Iran?
I was don't know exactly, but I was about 17 years old.
Okay, but that comes after the revolution.
Yes, first revolution happened, and then Saddam, or the war happened. But yes, I was about 16, 17 years old. I remember they would come to our school and recruit.
Wow.
You could go even if you were 13 years old.
Wow. Now tell us, people don't even remember, a lot of younger people won't even remember the revolution in Iran. I happened to be in Nigeria, Africa for an entire year in the bush, and the only thing that connected me was Time magazine, and I watched, the Iranian revolution, the hostage, of America. Yes. Tell what it was like in Iran going through the revolution.
When revolution happened, I was about 12 or 13 years old. But then I grew up in revolution. The start of it was when I was 12 or 13. Then the rest of my life until 30 years old when I left, it's still, Islamic regime is there. How was it look like? I shared it last night here. It was cool to be a Muslim. It was very cool,
So it was a revival of Islam at that time.
It was. See, you said it so right. It was literally like revival of Islamic, religion. And it was so cool to be a Muslim. But in my heart, when I look back, I was very interested, not in the religion or what the religion said, but I was zeroing and pinpointing on friendship with God. I remember when I was young age, that's all stood out for me. Friendship with God. And to us, they introduced us as Allah. Allah was God, Muhammad was prophet, but I wanted to be a friend of God. And that was my childhood.
So the concept of God was it similar to our concept of God?
Absolutely not.
No?
No, nothing against Muslim people, but I'm just telling you my story. No, absolutely not.
So the concept of how I would think about God growing up, going to church and reading the Old Testament and New Testament, it was different.
It was different to me. When I look back, the concept of God was he was the head of a religious organization. And he was very harsh, and he was very looking, his eyes always looking to see if you did something wrong.
Really?
Always, yes, always watching you.
So it wasn't a love relationship?
No, absolutely not.
But you wanted a love relationship.
I wanted that love relationship.
Okay, so you're 12 years old, the revolution happens. Your father has a grocery store.
At the middle of the town.
And all the religious leaders would come to the grocery store.
Because it was a small town, but it was the biggest supermarket. And when the country went to war and everything went kind of like black market, and then we had almost everything, and they would come and buy things from us, and I would ask them questions.
So you were like Jesus in the temple.
Kind of
like, what's this? What's that?
Yeah, I would just ask them how you could become a friend of God. And they would, they didn't have an answer. I'm a friend of God.
Were any of them themselves close to God in the way they would answer you?
Now when I look back, none of them except one. He was a religious leader, but he was so poor. So poor. I was always so drawn to him. He was the only one that I could kind of relate because he was real and broken and poor. Wow. He was the only one. He didn't still have answer, but his mannerism, his humility always stuck with me. I remember, it makes me cry, I remember. It's an old man, poor. As a religious leader or a sheikh or imam, you have to buy these certain what you call shawl or certain things you put it on your shoulder. He didn't have money to buy it. My father bought it for him.
Wow.
Yeah, and my father wasn't a really religious man. My mother was. But my father saw something in him. It was humility. And he was so poor. I remember him. That's the only one. None of them had anything that I was looking for.
Wow.
Nothing against them. I'm not judging them. But how could they give me something that they didn't have it?
Right. So you sought God, Allah, all on your own.
All my own, and just it was like a clock that was always ticking. It would not stop even one moment. I could not stop thinking about God for one moment in my life growing up. Not one moment. Couldn't.
It's so strange because when I actually received Christ into my own life, that's when I never stopped thinking about him.
Oh, wow.
From the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
But you actually had this draw from the time you were 12.
Yes.
Incessantly.
Yes, I remember. That's so correct what you said. I remember God told me one time after I got saved, after I heard his voice, he said, Kamran, when you did not have me in your heart, I had you in my heart.
Wow.
And to me, that's the story of every single Muslim. That's the story of every single Buddhist. That's the story of every single person alive. If and when they don't have Jesus in their heart, God has them in his heart. For God so loved the world.
Wow.
Meaning every single person, they live in God's heart. But God doesn't live in every single person's heart yet. He hasn't been invited, but...
So tell me about your search. How did
I searched out of agony, It wasn't, to me, it wasn't like really a choice. It's like you are searching for something so beautiful. Somehow something happened to you. Like people go and search for treasure. But the root of that was like something happened to them. Someone told them a story that sparked this desire. And then they would say, I'm going to search for this. I don't know how that I cannot recall when that spark was there, but now when I look back, a spark was there. And I was searching as a Muslim boy. And those days, we didn't have satellite TV. We didn't have social media. We didn't have any of those things. We didn't have a Christian bookstore. We didn't have any Christian around. I didn't know. I wasn't exposed to this Jesus. And I searched and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed 5 times a day, 10 times a day, 15 times a day. Help the poor, help the needy, try to be a good Muslim boy.
You did everything you were supposed to do.
Yes, and I wrote, I bought this set of books. It was 40 books on Quran. It was huge. I bought them all just to study Quran. And I couldn't get anything. I couldn't, again, nothing against Quran, but I could not get what I was looking for. And I was so
You couldn't
frustrated.
get the relationship.
No, I couldn't get the relationship.
Did you read those books?
Yes, yes.
All 40?
Not all 40, but I started. And
But
then,
it's a big commentary.
oh, yes, yes. I couldn't do it. I couldn't. You know, so many people would go to mosque and to this and that. But I would go sometime, but I was looking for something way deeper. And like a mystical, you know.
And you never found anyone that had it?
No, nobody. I remember I would sit in my father's supermarket looking at the door for years. You know, we would go to school, then you go to store. You go to school, you go to store. And I would sit there and look at the door that somebody may walk in that they knew God, and never happened.
Wow. So this went on and
on until I was about 27 years old. And one day I remember standing in my father's supermarket. I prayed and I said, Allah or God. I said, we call him in Farsi is Khuda. Khuda means beautiful. Khuda means the one that came out of himself. It's the Persian. They use like the one that brought himself up, the one that came out of himself. I said, Khudaya. I said it in Farsi. I said, I don't want to have any relationship with you. I'm done with you. This is done. Because I pursued you for all these years, but you didn't want me. I'm done. I remember in Farsi, I said, خدایا دیگه نمیخوام پیشت باشم. دیگه نمیخوام با من مهربون باشی. دیگه نمیخوام. تموم شد. همه چی تموم شد. Like it's done between everything that was between me and you. It's done.
All these years.
I said, it's done. It's done. I'm tired. And then slowly the desire came to my heart that I need to perhaps run from this country, come to United States. My mother's sister came here to America, 1984. And I said, let's just go to America, start your life new. Run away from this country and from God and from Islam, from everything.
And
from
your
Allah.
friends had died in the war? Some of them?
Oh, so many of them, they got shot in the head. And prior to that, it was my biggest desire to go to war and die, because I said that's the only way to go see God. I knew myself. I said, Kamran, you cannot kill anybody. I wouldn't kill anybody. I'm 6.7 tall. I said, I can stand up. The sniper would get me and I would go see God.
So you wanted to go to battle?
I wanted to go to battle and die. But that was another miracle, that it didn't happen. And then with the broken heart, I was 30 years old. I went to Cyprus because we don't have American embassy. I went to Cyprus to apply for a visa to come to United States, that I may run from Allah and Islam and God and Iran and my past and start my life new.
What year was that?
1996.
Wow.
I was 30 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. I go there, you know, and I stay at this hotel, and the day before my interview, I just found this Bible at the lobby of the hotel, Farsi Bible. I never saw Bible in my life, and I heard Bible was corrupted by Christians. This was an Islamic teaching we had.
That they corrupted
the Bible.
The stories.
Yes, that's why God had to send Muhammad with the new book, because they corrupted. This was the teaching. The Old Testament was corrupted by the Jew. The New Testament was corrupted by Christians. That's why God had to send Muhammad and bring a new book and do not allow anybody to corrupt it. Made sense to us.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have an old iPhone and then you get new iPhone. You said, oh, this is the newest version. I'm going to go with the newest version. But the great thing about the Bible is that Bible is alive. It's not a written book. And I didn't know this Bible was alive until I picked the Bible, took it to my room, start to read it for the first time. I remember it was the New Testament. I started from the beginning, book of Matthew, and I said, this Bible, this book is so sweet. The story of this prophet Jesus is so sweet. I was so mesmerized by the sweetness of the story of the Bible. And after a while, I was so caught up in the sweetness that the word Jesus Christ, in our language, we say Isa, Masih, Messiah, Masih. The word and the ink, little.
Messiah?
Yeah, Masih.
That's Masih is Messiah.
Messiah, yes, Masih. Isa, Masih, Masih. And I looked at it, and the word literally would just come out of the Bible. The name Jesus with the ink perfectly would come out of the Bible, go in front of my eyes, and I would follow it. It would go gently, go to the ceiling, and then come back gently and land into the book. And I kept reading. Again, my eyes would look at the word Jesus Christ, and when I would read it, it would come out of the Bible again, go in front of my face, goes to the ceiling, and then come back and land into the book. That happened 3 or 4 times. The last time...
It one day?
Oh, right there, as I'm sitting and reading, right there. Mm-hmm. As I'm reading through just imagine you're reading the book of Matthew and how many times you see Jesus. And that would come out. And when it went up, the last time I looked up, I saw Jesus standing in my room. And I saw the ceiling expanded. And he was standing there on air.
In the air.
In the air, and I'm sitting, because we love to sit on the floor. I'm sitting on the floor, Bible in front of me, looking up, and I see this Jesus. He didn't say, I'm Jesus Christ, and my whole body knew, oh, this is Prophet Jesus.
So you're seeing this?
I'm seeing it with my eyes.
Now, did that startle you? Or
not at all.
Or were you kind of a mystic to begin with, and you just have been waiting for some experience all your life?
I've been waiting for the experience all my life. All my life. It was that I didn't know it's going to happen this way, but I was waiting for some days. That's what it was like. It was the drive of my whole life to pursue God. And when that happened, I didn't analyze it. I didn't have power to analyze it. I was so caught up in it, and I didn't make me happy. It didn't make me excited. I didn't even call it a miracle. It just happened. I was just looking at this Jesus, and this is what he said in Farsi. He said, I will help you to go to America. That's all I heard. After that, I looked down and I looked at my heart. I said, can I pray to this Jesus? He's a prophet to Christian. I'm a Muslim. I looked up. I said, Jesus, all other prophets that I ever prayed to, they never helped me. If you can help me, please do. Then I went back, kept reading the Bible like nothing happened. For some reason. Next day, I go to the embassy. This is 1996, as an Iranian, with my passport. I mean, I had an appointment previously through travel agent. I go there, and I talk to the person in charge of the visa, and in 10 minutes, less than 10 minutes conversation, they tell me, give us your passport, come back at 10:30 or 11, pick up your visa.
Just like that?
Just like that.
And that you'd never heard of that before?
No, because even up to this moment today, if they agree to give you visa, they have to check your background and to see who you are. Not 1 out of 1,000 Iranian get visa to begin with. They say no. Even if they say yes, at least minimum of 40 days. And Jesus got my attention. I said, wow, this Jesus did something here. That was my first encounter and breakthrough with Jesus Christ.
And Islam honors Jesus as the prophet.
As the prophet, of course, yes.
So there was no tension there?
No, I said, he's a prophet, this is a Western country perhaps, and hey, he just showed up.
He works here.
Yeah, really. That was the mentality. But still, I did not thank Jesus. I thanked Allah. Mm-hmm. I said, thank you. And then I came to United States, and I remember I had the Bible, and I started to read the Bible. I came here in 1996, October or November, and I stayed with my mother's sister, my aunt. She's a believer now. She loves Jesus. I was the first one in our family.
Wow.
She's a believer. She loves Jesus so much now. Came here, and I started to read the Bible. I said, wow, thank you. I left that country and everything, and I'm here. I'm going to start my life new now. I will become an actor. I will become a model. I will do this. I said, you couldn't reach God. Let's just reach American dream, And God even used that. I started to read the Bible, but Bible made me very angry because Bible in the book of John said that he is the Word of God and he's the creator and he's God himself.
So you started to understand that that's what it said.
That's what, yeah, because beginning it was the book of Matthew. I read a little bit and Jesus appeared and he gave me what I needed. Like he appeared to so many in New Testament. He didn't ask them to follow them. He said, what do you need? They said, this is what you need, healing. Okay, you get your healing. That's what happened to me first time. And then I started to read the Bible. Bible made me very angry. I was a devout Muslim. I said, this is blasphemy. And then I stopped reading the Bible.
So now you were getting mad at Jesus.
I'm getting mad of Christians, not Jesus.
Okay,
because I put it on.
him.
Yeah, they corrupted his Bible. Yeah, and then fast forward 3 years. I was in Atlanta working just a normal job for Persians, vending machine, hard job, and stuff like that. And I'm 33 years old now.
Pizza delivery.
Yeah, pizza delivery at the end. That was the end. I was like, oh God, I'm 33 years old, and it's not there is nothing wrong with it, but I was waiting for God, and I always could feel this calling since I'm 12, and I'm 33, and I'm delivering pizza, and I'm not married, and I don't know what am I gonna do, and I waited for God all these years, and then boom, I met some spirit-filled Christians through my acting teacher
In Atlanta.
And the very first thing that really stirred me, it was their smile, and I'm like, why they are always smiling? These people are always smiling. I said, maybe they're American and they have money, and that's why they're smiling. But there was something more than that. They would just look me in the eye and talk to me, and they were interested. And that,
in you.
In me, and that I couldn't answer why. I said, they all knew I don't have money, and I'm nobody, and I'm from Iran. They're supposed to hate me. Why do they like me? Why did they look me in the eye? It was Jesus and the love. And I was here in America for 3 years, but I was never exposed to someone who knew Jesus.
Really?
Yes, of course. Because nobody would invite me to their house. It was my acting teacher that invited me to her birthday party. Mostly, you see Muslim or you see other people.
So you
don't
just
invite
kept
them.
yourselves.
Yes.
You kept other Iranians.
Yes, of course, that's the way it is. Even with all these Muslims here, we don't invite them to our houses, We like to invite them to our churches and say, come become a Christian. But to invite them and just to give them food or, normally we don't do that. And I created this program called A Heart for Muslim. They could go to our website. It's a free program. They could watch it and just see how to minister to Muslim people, because that's how a group of people ministered to me. It's called A Heart for Muslim, not evangelizing Muslim. A heart for Muslim. For God has a heart for Muslims. And that's what happened to me. And thank God for this group of people. This is about the end of 1999. And they told me, of course, about Jesus, the blood of Jesus, and it made me confused. I said, blood doesn't make you clean. In Islamic religion and Jewish culture, blood makes you unclean. You have to go wash yourself. And I said, how can the blood make me clean? And then they would talk about relationship with God, and God is love. I said, God is not love. God is not love. But they kept loving me. They kept loving me.
So everything they said went against 20 years of devout chasing after God, but it was all wrong.
Yes, however, their love and the light in their eyes and their hugs, really, I did not have anything against that. I couldn't come up with anything. Their hug, really. Wow. And their love, again, their light in their face, in their eyes, and their smile. I could not come up with anything. What they're saying is wrong, but their smile is not. Wow. What they're saying, according to my previous theology, was wrong, but their hug is not. Does that make sense? That made me a little bit agitated, I can't do anything with this, but I could come against your theology.